thank you, Joe. Jojo, that's your name, you know. That's how I know you, Jojo. It's really a wonderful day to be clean, and I have tons to be grateful for, you know. And always share, you know. I haven't used today. I'm a success. I'm a winner. I did not win $1 million lottery or all that good stuff, you know. In fact, I've won my life back. Thanks to you guys, thanks to Narcotics Anonymous, I got my life back. You know, that's absolutely amazing. This is the beauty about Narcotics Anonymous. Like right here, there are people from Liverpool, people from all over the country, people from Canada. You know, and it's amazing. We can all get connected. And Joe shared about like how he met me, and this is the beauty about this fellowship. We build connection. I've just met Joe once, and that also very briefly. Maybe we spent about 15 minutes together. That's it. But now, like looks like I've known him all my life. That's the beauty about Narcotics Anonymous. It does not really matter from where we come from, what we did, what we do for a living, what drugs we use, but we bind together because of that common connection. You know, one addict helping another, and that's so precious. That's so beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to share about, but I generally start with how I found Narcotics Anonymous. The drugs we did, the drugs are different. Maybe you guys did something else, I did something else. So that does not really matter. I found Narcotics Anonymous in 1986, in the summer of 1986 in Bombay, India. That's where I was doing most of my drugs. I started doing drugs in Chandigarh. I started studying, I was going to school. And my addiction got really, really bad in Bombay. Because in the 70s, people were using drugs in India. They were using mainly hashish and marijuana and maybe a little bit of pills. It was not a really big epidemic. And we did not have Narcotics Anonymous then. But in early 80s, suddenly, very cheap heroin started flowing in India. So all of us addicts who were addicted to hashish, we turned on to heroin really fast. And things really turned bad very, very quickly. So NA started in India in 1983, 8th of September 1983. So I found it in 1986. How I found Narcotics Anonymous, that's a good story behind it. I'll tell you a little bit about that. But that time, the amazing thing is that time in 1986, there was only one group in the entire country of India, of more than 1 billion people, just one group. And I happened to be at the right time, at the right place in Bombay, India, and I found Narcotics Anonymous. My first introduction to 12-step fellowship is Narcotics Anonymous. So after that, I had to go to Alcoholics Anonymous because there were no meetings of Narcotics Anonymous. So how I found NA, I was really dope sick. I was looking for my connection, and I wanted to get high really bad, and I could not find him. So this guy his name is Jitu, and he recognized me. I did not recognize him. So he was one of those guys. Used to like meet him at this dhandas and dens all the time. And he used to stammer. He could not speak properly. He used to stammer. And he used to be there all the time, 24/7. I thought he's a really bad addict. So I might have a little bit of drug problem, but I'm not like him. But this guy looked good. He looked good. He had put on some weight. And I thought he had found that perfect high that I was looking for all my life. That he's doing something that is really, really cool. That he is also looking good. So first thing probably I asked, like, what are you holding? You have something, give me something. And he told me something that really blew me away. He said he does not do drugs anymore and he goes to some narcotics meetings and some anonymous meetings. I said, wow. I said, he must have found that perfect high that I was looking for all my life. He had found something that I was looking for. He goes to a narcotics meeting. I better check it out, you know, the narcotics meeting. And that is how I found Narcotics Anonymous. So all of us, who are sitting here on Zoom, all of us, we are clean. We have found the fellowship because somebody did service in Narcotics Anonymous. So this friend of mine, he did by service by letting this addict know that there was hope. Then I walked into my first NA meeting as the foundation group in Bombay. And it was, I believe it was a Thursday. And there were about like 15, 20 members. And that was the entire fellowship of India, as I know of then, entire fellowship. Everybody was there. And I got that unconditional love that I was always looking for all my life. Almost immediately, I fell in love with Narcotics Anonymous. But I did not want much of what you guys were telling me to do. You guys told me to work some steps, and you had God written all over the place, and you talked about probably sponsorship. All those things did not make sense. I thought if I kept coming here long enough, what is going to happen? I'm going to learn how to use a little more successfully. I thought, like, you know, if I don't do this drug A, and if I can only use on weekends, if I can just taper it down, I thought you guys are going to teach me how to use successful. And you guys told me something, like you said, like complete abstinence from all drugs. That did not make sense at all. So but there was something so attractive about the Narcotics Anonymous meeting that I kept coming back. So initially it was like maybe I came the first day, then I did not show up for a month, then I came back again. But there was something attractive. I just kept coming back. But the thing I was doing wrong was I kept coming back loaded. You guys told me like to keep coming back clean. And I did all the things that you're not supposed to do in NA. I used to go and use in the bathroom and come back nodding at the back row of the class. And those days we used to have this question and answer session after every meeting, you know, last 10 minutes of the meeting. And when one addict with maybe a couple of months or 6 months clean time used to ask a question, and me with my all worldly knowledge of drug addiction, I always used to raise my hand because I had the answer. And you guys told me to shut up and sit down and listen. You know, it was very difficult for me. I thought, like, man, I know something about drug addiction. I need to share something. But I got that love, you know. I probably came for all the reasons in the beginning. I just came to hang out with you guys, you know, outside the meeting, because I could bum bidis from you. Bidis are those little tobacco-filled leaves. They are much more cheaper than cigarettes, so we used to smoke those. I could bum bidis for you. Maybe you guys, when you went out for tea, I could get some tea. You used to, you know, like give me some tea. So all those things, reasons I kept coming back, but there was some attraction. But slowly and slowly, I kept coming back and things started changing. Then what happened? Because I was coming to Narcotics Anonymous long enough, the drugs really stopped working. Whenever I was doing drugs, it seems everything was cut with Narcotics Anonymous, because now I knew that there was a different way. Now I knew that there was a better way, right? So whenever I was using, so all those things, the slogans we hear in our meetings, like Judge for Today, you don't use, and you know, all the Judge for Today program, and Easy Does It, and all this stuff, honesty, open-minded, willingness, spiritual principles, all those things started coming in, and I just could not use in peace again. So finally, I made the choice on January 19, 1992 that I will give up Just for Today. I won't use Just for Today. You guys told me something that did not make sense then and still does not make sense. You know, what I used to think, I'm going to use as much as I could on a Friday evening, cold turkey at home on Saturday and Sunday, and then for Monday, I'll stop using for the rest of my life. But you guys told me that Just for Today, you don't use, you never have to use again. Just for Today, you don't use, you never have to use again. It did not make sense then. Sometimes it still does not make sense. But the Just for Today turned out to one day became 1 week became 1 month became 6 months, 6 months became 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. And 2 days ago, I completed 29 years of complete abstinence from all mood-altering chemicals. And it's amazing. And I'm no special. I did not do anything which is really special. And all of us, and this message is for the newcomers. I see a few of us are newer members in this room, you know. And miracles happen in this room. We can stay clean a day at a time. And it is a beautiful program. We can turn our lives around. We can make a difference. We can, it's absolutely amazing journey. And that's what I do. I try to stay connected. If you ask me two things that define my life or any addict's life that we need to do to have a successful life, the first is change, and the second is connection. But change, what I need to do, I need to change everything about myself. To do that, to change everything, and that's why we have the steps. Steps is a slow way of changing everything about myself, but slow but a sure way of changing everything about myself. So basically that, all there is to it, if I need to live a good life, I need to change from the life I was living before. So when I started walking the step, I realized that I was not all that a bad guy and I'm not all that good guy. So there are certain things which are good about me, certain things that needed change. And it is so simple. Like I had the sponsor, and I'm going to talk about the sponsor in a minute. And at one point he said, recovery over a period of time is a process of simplification. So I need to simplify my life. I need to really, really simplify my life, the way I look at my life. So many times what happens in our recovery, we just try to grab the money, power, and prestige. But the bottom line is this: all these things will not make me happy. I enjoy the simplicity of going to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and that's what I try to do whenever I'm traveling. I love to travel off and on, and whenever I go travel anywhere, I try to attend a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. And when I go there, I just sit in the back because I love that anonymity that gives me. But here in Miami, everybody knows me, right? But if I go to a strange place and where people don't know me, I just sit there, chill, and I appreciate that atmosphere of recovery, just being an anonymous addict, and that I keep on doing. That really helps me in my recovery. Now, moving on, because the fellowship was so new at that time, we did not have anything. We did not have HNI. And I think I had about 7 months clean, and a bunch of us, we got together and had the honor of being part of a hospital's institution. And the fellowship started growing, and the meetings started developing. There were many more meetings that started happening. In fact, when I moved away from India, I just had 4 years clean. So whatever little service I did was just in the 4 years I was in India. And that time, we did not have any meetings near the place I used to live. I remember we used to go to the meeting in Mahim, and used to walk about 2 hours train ride from Mahim in a place called New Bombay. And on the ride back, I had to wait for the meeting to start at 7:30. So I used to reach there, say about 6:30. And many members have helped me in this journey of recovery. Many members who are not clean today, many members who have passed away, but they are very important part of my life and recovery. So there was this member, he was always pissed off with life, and he had this old typewriter, and he used to type stuff at the train station. So somebody had something, typing work to be done, they used to give it to him, he used to type. And I was a newer member. I used to, on my way back, I used to go there and I used to just like hang out with him, and we used to grab a cup of tea. We used to share a cup of tea together, and he used to tell me how pissed he is with life, and I used to tell him how pissed I was with life. But that we used to form that connection. We used to form that connection, and things seemed to be getting a little better, because initially it was so difficult to embrace this way of life, thinking that things will really get better. So this guy who helped me in those days, his name is Louis, and we used to call him Uncle Louis. He was probably in his 40s, and he used to be really pissed off when we used to call him Uncle Louis. And he recently, he became 80 years old, and I called him around his birthday, and he was so happy to hear from me in India. And those little things that we do for each other, it really, really touches me. Then moving forward, about 4 years clean, I had been thrown out of graduate school. I wanted to get an education together. And more important, I wanted to check out the Worldwide Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. I had heard that NA had started in the USA, and I just wanted to check it out, because I became very, very curious. So I did all these exams and all this stuff, and came to US in August 1996. So I moved to US in 1996. At that time, I hardly had any money. I just had a few $1,000s, enough to pay my first semester fee. I did not know anybody in Narcotics Anonymous. And those days, we did not have internet, right? So, but I had this meeting by mail. We used to get this meeting by mail, and we used to have this NAWA magazine. At the back of the NAWA magazine, they used to print out all the conventions that was happening. There were a couple of dozen conventions. So I got hold of the NAWA magazine, and one of the convention happened to be the week after I was arriving in US, and it was very close to where I was arriving. That was in Tennessee, in Johnson City, Tennessee. So I came to Johnson City, Tennessee around 7th of August, 1996, and the convention was 14th, 15th, 16th of August. On that convention, the theme was Unity in the Mountains. So first, I tried to look for a NA meeting, and the best way to find an NA meeting at that time in a foreign place is look for the phone directory. It did not list any NA numbers, but there's always listing of Alcoholics Anonymous number. So I called this AA number, and those guys told me, okay, this is the places where you need to contact to get list for NA meeting. So that is how I found my first NA meeting in the United States. And so I called that place up. First, I checked it out. That was in a beautiful classroom. It was air conditioned. I said, no way, you are not having an NA meeting here. Because I was used to having NA meeting in rundown classroom. So I arrived at the NA meeting meeting was supposed to start around 7:30. I arrived a little early. And I was afraid. I was in a foreign country. I was a student, and I did not know how you guys treated addicts, recovering addicts. I did not know what to expect. And then I was waiting, and suddenly a car arrived, and a weird lady got out of the car. And one addict recognizes another addict. We know if it's an NA meeting, some of us, we're hanging out around the meeting. We know this is like Narcotics Anonymous, right? But she went inside. So I moved forward. I checked out the car. Her car said NA 1984. She got clean. Gela R. She got clean in 1984, and it had the serenity prayer. And I felt that peace, that I was home. That was finally home. Then another member arrived, and I got my first NA hug in the United States. So that was 4 days before the convention. And at the meeting, just after the meeting, they were having a business meeting. So I made that my home group, and they were talking about the convention. They were excited. I did not have money. I did not know how to get to the convention. I did not have a license. I did not have a car. I had nothing. So somebody volunteered to take me to the convention, somebody volunteered to put me up in their room, and somebody volunteered to drop me back to Johnson City. So at that convention, the Friday night speaker was this guy named Greg. And probably that night made the largest impact in my recovery. I'd not seen this person before, I'd not heard of him before. And we did not have conventions with the speakers who had lots of clean time. So he had almost 26 years clean time then. And he said things like, there's no substitute for surrender. All my life in my recovery, I was looking for the substitute. Maybe I can do it my way. It's going to work out better. And he talked about the handy-dandy one-step program. Don't use no matter what. And even if your ass falls off, if it falls off, put it in a bag and bring it to a meeting. We'll fix it for you. He talked about, don't worry about getting the right sponsor. If your sponsor is a complete fool, he can hardly screw up your life more than what you already have. So just trust somebody and get yourself a sponsor. He talked about living this way. He talked about betting your life on Narcotics Anonymous. Yeah, that's my sponsor in front of the rising sun, my late sponsor, Greg P., in front of the rising sun in Marietta, Georgia. Yeah, so he talked about all the good stuff, and I was totally blown away, and I was in a way, I was like an nerd. I have this addictive personality. Whatever I do, I need more. When I was doing drugs, I needed more. I needed the best drugs. So when I came into Narcotics Anonymous, I wanted more of it. I needed more of it. And on this man's 26th NA anniversary, asked him to be my sponsor. And Greg sponsored me till he passed away. And we had beautiful, peaceful time with him. We should travel for conventions together. And most of my learning I had with Greg was when we went on just isolated drive. He used to love to drive. Just get in the car, me and Greg, and we drive through the woods in Johnson City, and we should just talk about life. And he used to tell me a little bit about history, and I used to ask questions. He used to ask, and he used to answer. And it has, with Greg and his family, it has become a really, really beautiful, precious relationship. Now looking back, I had like 4 or 5 years clean. That is not a bunch of clean time, right? But it's all right. But that time, Greg's son was looking for a place to live. And Greg suggested that I be his roommate. Now looking back, that time Clay, he was 18, 19 years old. And he became my roommate, and he stayed my roommate for 5 years. So that was the beauty about Greg, that he used to give freely, and he used to love and trust another addict. In his trailer home, there were people from all walks of life coming there, and it was a beautiful experience. And then when Greg passed, around that time, me and Steve, we were hanging out with Greg when he was really sick, and me and Steve became really close. So he was my road buddy. We used to go for camping together. We used to go to conventions together. Just me and Steve get into a car, go to those like 200 miles, 300 miles, go to convention Atlanta and drive back. And we used to talk about history, talk about recovery, talk about life. Around that time, I asked Steve to be my sponsor. And he has been my sponsor, a wonderful man. He has been my sponsor for the past 21 years since he passed away. And it has been a great relationship of sponsorship. So, and sponsorship is the heartbeat of our program on Narcotics Anonymous. That is one addict helping another addict. That is the directly that we do for each other. We help each other. right? So that's what we do. And then I have had the opportunity of being present in my recovery and in being part of different regions. I've had the opportunity of staying in different parts of United States and Canada. So in Johnson City, I was there for 8 years. Then I moved to Canada, in a really, really cold place in Canada called Winnipeg. And they have amazing fellowship. Wherever I have gone, I found the fellowship to be amazing. And I think it is a matter of perspective. You know, I try to see the good in people, and it's always, they have a beautiful, beautiful fellowship. And from there, I moved to a place in the Caribbean, St. Kitts Nevis. And therefore, first time in my life, I was in a place where there was no 12-step fellowship. There was nothing. There was no meeting. I was in a beautiful, beautiful island. It was a 32 square mile island. It was a beautiful island, Nevis, but there was no Narcotics Anonymous, right? And I felt like a bird in a golden cage. It was so beautiful, but I was going crazy. Around that time, there was a friend of mine, Joe M. from Miami, may he rest in peace. He was in the hospital, and he and a bunch of people, they started a meeting called the Bridge Group by phone. We started on Sunday, and I used to talk to addicts at that time, different parts in the U.S. And while talking to him, he said, "Why did you join us meeting? It's by phone, so that will help you stay connected." So I attended the meeting. I kept on attending the meeting for 4 years on the phone every Sunday. I used to celebrate my anniversaries using the meeting. From there, I moved to Prince Edward Island. Another beautiful fellowship, absolutely beautiful fellowship. Small fellowship, very tight-knit fellowship. They did not have as many meetings as we have in Miami. Miami, we have like 6-7 meetings every day. You can go to meetings like whenever you feel like. But then we had one meeting, and then for the next day you had to drive for 1 hour. And I really built connection by hanging out with guys. So because I did not have a car there too, and so some members used to pick me up, and we used to drive to a meeting in Summerside. Then after that, we go out and eat at some Chinese restaurant, and then drive back. So on the drive to a meeting, fellowship on the drive to the meeting, fellowship on the way back. And that's how I was. That's what I was doing in Prince Edward Island. But I was making meeting at a home group. I was doing service and all that good stuff. Then I'm in the Miami for the past 7 years, and again the Miami fellowship is absolutely amazing. That's the biggest fellowship I've been part of till date. We have meetings, like lots of meetings around the clock, and I have a home group. I do service at my home group. And I do all the things that you guys suggested I do, and it's absolutely beautiful to be part of Narcotics Anonymous. Never in my wildest dream I would have imagined that I'll have a life that I have today. It is a peaceful life. It is a very freeing life. It is a very simple life. I do not care much about the materialistic stuff and getting that fancy car and all this stuff. You know, my needs are being met, and I'm really happy with that. The COVID has brought a new dimension to my recovery. In a way, thanks to recovery and thanks to COVID, I got to get connected with members all over the world. I got to get reconnected with members whom I had grown up in recovery in India, who I have not seen for ages. Now we are connected again via the Zoom platform. So it's all good. Another thing, you know, like if I need to think about the things not going well in my life, I can keep on talking about things not going well in my life. But what I've learned in recovery is that to embrace this moment, embrace this present, being right here, right now. Like right now, I'm at this meeting, at a Zoom meeting with you, all you wonderful people, and that's what I need to look at, need to reflect at. So it's been an amazing journey, and I could never imagine that scared little guy or scared little boy did not know what to do with his life, did not know what life is holding for me. But just trusting this process and doing the next right thing, things have become better. Things do become better. You know, sometimes we think like, when will it get better? But if you have not used today, some of you who are new here in this platform today, you know, somebody shared 3 days. If you have not used today, your life has already got better. Your life has already got better. Just don't use no matter what. Just for today, you don't use it, you never have to use again. I said it did not make sense then, does not make sense. Do the things that is suggested, trust somebody, get a sponsor, do some reading. If you can write, do some writing. Go over the steps, embrace the principles of the steps in your life. I do that. I'm not perfect. I'll never get perfect. But I know I'm much better than what I was 29 years ago. And if I keep on embracing this way of life, if I keep on doing the next right thing, I will keep on getting a little better a day at a time. Thank you, and I love you all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Sabi.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for sharing.
Congrats. Good to see you.
Don't smoke that crack. Keep coming back.
Congratulations, Mr. Sabi.
Thank you, Mr. Miles.
Thank you.